welcome back to the channel for the continuation of the Ice Chapter reviews, and huge thanks to Ninja Man 285. This video would not be possible without him, so huge thanks for recording these episodes. I do not know where these released, it may have been Australia, but on Mondays we will be getting these HD Ice Chapter episodes, so I'll be continuing to review them as soon as possible. But yeah, today's video we are reviewing episode 17, Firemaker. The episode begins with those two Neverrealm guys who are walking around gathering food when they hear the march of the Ice Samurai, and they discover that the Ice Samurai are going to be attacking their village soon. So after that, they return home where the people start to come up with a plan as for what to do, and Sora explains the significance of the fire to the ninja. It's the last remaining fire in the Neverrealm and must be protected at all costs. So they prepare for the attack that's coming, and later that night the Ice Samurai arrive, being led into battle by this Ice Samurai executioner guy. So Lloyd discovers that some of the Ice Samurai are made of ice, while others are simply corrupted humans. And the Ice Samurai executioner actually manages to take out the fire, although they do lose the battle. So now the people of the village are cold, but luckily Kai regains his fire and manages to reignite the fire. So that's how the episode ends, with Kai having his powers back. So what went well this episode? Well, I do quite like the idea of the fire, and it makes a lot of sense actually that it would be something that the Neverrealm people place a lot of importance on, and moreover, on top of that, I like the parallels between the Fire and Ice chapter, in the sense that they both involve some sort of aspect from the other element. Like in the Fire chapter, Zane was very important to the story with his visions and stuff, and also that he was the one banished to the Neverrealm in the end and defeated the Pyro Vipers, while in the Ice chapter, we have Kai who must restore the fire. So I think that's a nice setup for these two ninja to have stories in these chapters, so I do like that. Other than that, we have the fight with the Ice Samurai. Nothing too special, really, but I think it was, all in all, a pretty good fight. And I like the outcome with the ninja and the people of the Neverrealm actually losing the fire, but actually winning the battle, kind of, in the end. So I thought that was well done. Those two guys at the beginning, I forgot their names, I think Utag and some other guy, are actually pretty funny, and this chapter is doing humor right. It's not focused on super heavily, but instead it's just kind of there to be in addition to the main plot. So I do like that, and I do think that it is done fairly well. And the Ice Samurai are really cool. I love how this episode did basically confirm some theories as to how exactly the Ice Samurai were created. Some of them are actually corrupted people, while others are just ice itself. So I think that's really cool, and it's an awesome concept for the army itself. Unfortunately, this episode was not without flaw though, and I do want to specifically focus on the Kai power story that has been present throughout the entire season. And I don't mean hate to any of the writers, but I just feel like this is one of my least favorite arcs from the entire series yet. And I guess I'll talk more about it once the season ends, but I just don't really like the way that it was done, and especially the resolution to this in this episode. I just feel like it could have been better, and I can't help but feel rather disappointed by the outcome and just the arc overall. It just felt like they were kind of copying stuff from past seasons, but what exactly about the resolution don't I like? Well, simply, it just feels really, really forced, and I guess that's my biggest problem with it. Basically, Kai just gets his powers back by staring at a piece of wood, and I guess the only thing I really got out of this arc from Kai's character is that he is, I guess, a thoughtful person. He wants to do stuff, he wants to be able to help, but, then you have Lloyd, who in Sons of Garmadon and Hunted lost everything and was continuing to persevere. But yet we have Kai in episode 9 who's just like, I don't have my powers, I give up. So at the end of the day, I'm wondering, what was even the point of this arc? What are you guys trying to say about Kai's character? That he's thoughtful? That he wants to have some role in the action? I just don't really think that's convincing character development, and I guess that's just the big problem with this arc. It just felt really forced in my opinion, and I guess the resolution too, with Kai suddenly gaining his powers back, it could have been worse. I guess that it was a nice way to tie it in with the Neverrealm, as I did mention earlier, and the concept of the fire is really cool. But I just feel like Kai just getting his powers back just like that, without more of an obstacle, was not really a good story. And then we have Sorla too, who isn't that bad in this episode. She doesn't do too much, but she's just really your stereotypical mentor-like character, and I wish they could have done a little bit more with her. But I guess that's all I really have to say for that part. So in the end, I do quite like the plot of this episode. I love the lead up to the battle with the Ice Samurai, and the battle itself was done pretty well too. And I like, the different obstacles that the people of the Neverrealm were presented with when thinking about their next move, such as leaving the settlement, but then of course, I like the significance that is placed on the fire too, and the overall concept of that, and how Kai's role was fit to the idea of the fire too. Now talking about characters, nobody really stood out in this episode, to be honest. I know Kai, I guess, was supposed to be the main focus of this episode and stand out in a way, but I just don't really feel like he did in this episode. So, yep, not exactly a fan of Kai in this episode. I don't think he stood out in a good way. But now, talking about the action of this episode, I mean, the fight scene was pretty good. I wouldn't say it's as good as some of the other fights in this season, such as the museum fight, but it was pretty good. I liked the different things going on, such as the use of bows and arrows in this fight, so I thought that was definitely very cool. Now, talking about emotion, definitely not one of the episode's stronger points. I do feel like that sense of victory after Kai regained his powers was simply just not really there for me, because I just don't feel like Kai went through much of a struggle with that, and his internal mindset of I can't do it was just not really enough of a convincing story for me. So, and then there was also the overly dramatic soundtrack during Kai regaining his powers, and I just didn't really care much for the story at all, so that just wasn't really good for me. But if I were to give the episode a rating out of 10, I would give it a 7.5 out of 10. I definitely feel like it was dragged down a lot by Kai's story, and just simply the rushed conclusion to that. But yeah, I mean, I would have given it a higher rating had they just not really rushed up his story like that. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share with anyone ever you know. Let me know what you guys thought of Ninjago Season 11, Episode 17, Firemaker, and I will see you next time.